Okay, so I know I've had you waiting for like forever. You probably think that I forgot, but I didn't. So here is my video for me making my laundry detergent. I use a 5-gallon bucket that I got from Lowe's to store the detergent in. This is the recipe. This recipe makes approximately like a little bit over a gallon, so probably about 1.5 gallons of detergent. I am going to double this because I try to make almost a full bucket, and plus I give some to my son, so he has laundry detergent. He doesn't buy detergent either, so he just comes to get it from mom. So I'm going to double this recipe. So it calls for, as you can see, the washing soda, baking soda, castle soap, and water. There is one additional ingredient that I add that you don't have to, which is the fabric softener crystals. I like a little scent, and although the detergent itself without it smells good because I do use the lavender castle soap, I still like a little bit of extra scent, and just to give the clothes so they're not harsh feeling, which they aren't anyway. I just like them a little bit softer. So I don't know, I mainly just add it for the scent. You don't have to use it because the clothes come out fine, soft, clean, and static free with just the 3 main ingredients. So I use just a regular pure baking soda, Arm & Hammer super washing soda, and regular castle soap. I use the liquid because I don't have time for all the grating of the bar soap that some of the Pinterest ads calls for. I like these ingredients because I don't like borax. I don't want to use borax, and because my crew has some finicky skin, so these things here I found that's what works for us. So first thing I do is, after I get all my ingredients, I will start boiling my water. My pot that I use actually holds 2 gallons of water. It holds almost 2 gallons. Probably about 1.5 gallons of water. So I'll boil the water in like 3. I end up boiling like 3 different pots of water to get my full batch. So after I boil the first pot of water, I will put my double amount of baking soda, so it ends up being 1/2 cup of baking soda in my bucket, and then I'll add 3 cups of the washing soda with the first batch of water, and then I'll mix it up. What I use to mix it up is this is our power drill. Our power drill happens to have an attachment on it, which is typically used for mixing mortar or paint. We have it because we added some brick tiles to a wall in the house, so that's why I have it. So I use that not just because it's easier to mix, but the water is boiling and hot, and it takes a lot of mixing, stirring to get to make sure all the powder is dissolved. I don't have that kind of arm strength or that kind of time, so I cheat. Flat out simple. I cheat. So that is why I use the mixer attachment. I don't get burned or scalded from the hot water, and I ensure that all of my powder products are mixed up. So what you see here in this bucket is my complete batch. It's totally done. That's after I've added all my water and everything. So after I put in the first 1.5 gallons of water and the baking soda and 1/2 of the washing powder, which ends up being 3 cups, I put that in, mix it all up, let it sit for a minute, and then I will add the rest of the water in, which is another 1.5 gallons, and then the rest of the washing soda, which is another 3 cups. And then I'll mix all of that up till it's completely mixed up, and then after I feel like it's all dissolved, so I'll mix it. It'll get sudsy like this a little bit, and I'll let the suds like kind of calm down some. I'm not going to turn this on because it's loud. It's a real heavy duty drill. real heavy duty drill, so I'm not gonna mix it up because it gets loud. So after I let the suds kind of calm down, I kind of drag it across the bottom of the bucket to make sure that all the powder has dissolved and stuff. And then once I feel like it has dissolved, then I will add in my castle soap. This is the last thing I pour in. It's all gone because I've used all that I have. So I'll add that in there, and then once I've added the castle soap in, I'll give it a good mix. I kind of mix it on low so that it doesn't get too sudsy. I got a little carried away, so I got some suds on the top. So I'll have to come back later as it starts to set. Probably in the morning, it'll probably have some suds on the top, and I'll just have to mix it up again. So after you've got all your ingredients in there, you've put all of your water in there, whether you're making a big batch like this, double the batch, or you're just making the smaller batch, you have to let it sit and cool. It'll sit, and as it cools, it'll start to turn into like a jelly. And like I said, because it's got the suds on the top, that'll also gel up. It'll be a little foamish and it'll gel up, but you can get rid of it. You just mix it back in with your mixer, if you're going to use a spoon, or if you're going to cheat like me and use a blender, and mix that all up. So I'm going to put the lid on it, and then I'm going to I'll just set the lid on top. I'm not going to completely seal it because I want the heat to be able to escape, so and let some air get in there so it'll go ahead and solidify. But I'm going to put the lid on top of it, and then I sit it outside because it's cool out, and that'll help speed up the cooling process. Because I am doing this so late, I want to kind of speed it up for the simple fact, so tomorrow, if my son needs to do some laundry, he can get him some detergent out of here and fill up his little jug and do his and take it home and do his laundry. So I'm gonna put the lid on this and sit it outside, and that is it. Tomorrow morning when I wake up, it should have cooled off enough to where it's like jelly-like. If it's too stiff, like my first time making this, it was a little bit too stiff, and the Pinterest recipe that I used, the lady said she just added a little bit more hot water to it. She added some warm water to it, mixed it back up, and that kind of loosened it up some. That's what I did. So and that's it. So it may gel up a little bit, you know, as it sits or whatever, but that's normal because that's just a chemical reaction of the products together. The castle soap is what actually kind of makes it gel up. So it's the castle soap mixed in with the washing powder and the baking soda and stuff. But that is it. That is how I make my detergent. I like it. It works for us. It does get your clothes clean. You don't have to worry about any residues or anything. All the products are all natural, so it's not hurting you. It's not hurting your clothes, and it lasts a really, really long time. For us, for a family of 5, I probably won't have to make detergent again, hopefully until around July. It's around July, probably. Maybe even a little later. Depends on how often they're washing. We're not washing a lot with sports kind of phasing out. They're not having to wash their uniforms and stuff as much, so they won't use it. We won't be using it probably as much, I guess. And how much to use when you do wash clothes. I have a front load washing machine, so I have a little scoop that goes with this, which is 1/3 of a cup. So depending on if they're doing a really full load or if it's just like a regular size load, they'll either use 1/3 to 2/3 of a cup in their wash. 1/3 is really good, gets it really clean, but if you've got like some heavy stuff and they're like jeans and stuff, sometimes they'll add 2 scoops. And that is it. That is how I make my detergent. Again, there's the recipe. I got it off of Pinterest, tweaked it a little bit because I make a big batch, and I add the crystals. Typically, I don't use the Purex crystals. Arm & Hammer has some fabric softener crystals that I like to use, but apparently they've become popular. When I first was buying them, it would be a ton of them on the shelf. Went to get some, and there were none, so I got the Purex ones simply because I like the way they smelled. However, after I use these, I am going back to the Arm & Hammer ones because these are really strong. So that's the only complaint that I have. And that is how I make my detergent. Thank you.